Hi, this is Lynn Schnebley with Educating with Wisdom. I'm trying to cover up what I have in the back here. I'm the ambassador for Heaven's Creating and Protecting Goddesses and Archangels over Life. And we're doing a piece on don't whistleblow, okay, especially in the state of Florida. I don't know what it's like in other states. I do know you don't want to do it in New Brunswick, Canada either. And given that Fiona Hill has a penis and nobody pointed that out during the congressional meetings and the media never picked up on it. You're going to see in my case, if I ever get it out to Palm Beach County, it's like the world just stands on its head upside down. You're completely the upside down people. I'm not saying you per se, but it's the upside down world. And what's really interesting about this is that when I went to enough police officers, they either said one, they didn't have jurisdiction. The CIA told me there's fraud all over the place. That's when I tried to leave a copy of the documents off at Mr. Trump's place at the one in West Palm Beach. Yes, I got a citation for trespassing, trying to give them the information because I knew that it would probably never get to him via the mail. This is after I had already been to the state offices. And then, of course, there's sending the entire brief from the Inspector General's office, that was 121 pages of nothing but fraud, that I got the evidence for, and I had all of the original documentation to prove that everything was fraud and that the cyber stalking and cyber monitoring could be seen right in the brief. That you're going to get a copy of from this. None of the police agencies will look at it. And one said, the one in Martin County, that could have had jurisdiction said, well, we actually don't have jurisdiction over it. And then my brother was part of a conversation that he heard from the state law enforcement, the Leo, that he can't even get a copy of the case from the Inspector General's. And I said, well, that's great because I have a copy right here and I'll give it to you. And he said, and John heard all of this, and it's like the man did not want to handle the case whatsoever. When you deal with white crime, military, espionage, the Five Eyes, they don't want to deal with it. And cyber stalking, cyber monitoring, which is really interesting because you're going to, I'm not crazy. It was actually in my case. I let them know it was going on in my case since March of 2012. I became aware of something really weird going on. In February of 2012, I became aware that I was hacked into in late October 2012, and it was actually obvious in what they submitted. In my case, from October 2011, November 2011, October 2011, and what they submitted from my case, what they submitted. You could see the cyber stalking and cyber monitoring. So, with that in mind, let's go and just take a look at the Inspector Generals, because I made it clear that initially I found that there were more Inspector Generals in the state of Florida, just like there are more Cambridge program systems for England in the state of Florida. And I said, that's amazing because all these whistleblowers show up. Nobody can get the information from the Inspector General's cases when they go out there. They only leak out those things that they want to. You know, it's like, okay, we have to make it look like we're doing something, so we're just going to send you out a few things. You could call it gaslighting, but in fact, it's part of learned helplessness, and it's, you know, it's just makeup. But what I said is that Florida had more Inspector Generals than any other state, because I looked them up. And when I called the Inspector Generals, the accrediting body, because you can see I have the phone log that has it, but I also have the little green book. The people that do the accrediting, when I wanted to report Florida, I said, look, you got to yank their license. They don't need to. And they said, oh, you know, we don't have any discipline. Well, you can't discipline the members if they're not doing their stuff right, if they don't follow their procedures. No. Well, how do you have an accrediting body if there's nothing? So, I mean, do not whistleblow. But let's go in and take a look at all of the inspector, because what you're going to see in my cases and what I'm going to tell you about in education, if I ever get my case out, it's going to be like, no. And you needed to put up the program that I wanted to do, that which was a hearing committee that would then follow through up to the state to make sure that things were actually heard, because you can't go through an inspector general's. Once you go into the inspector general, you fall off the edge of the earth. Your lawyer can back out, but they pick and choose everything about you, and then if they really think you're high ranking enough, like I was, they destroy your life and they take everything. By the way, the government knows that they're doing this. So let's go in and just take a look at all of the inspector generals and understand that Palm Beach County was supposed to get the pilot project that I put into the G4S case. And right after they closed the case, the FCHR did, and I had to sue pro se in order to be able to do that, which, oh right, that makes me a really wicked woman, okay? They opened up an inspector general's office at Palm Beach County. So it was the school district. So let's get out of me and let's go see that. Not that you've seen me. All right, here we're going to see it in the G4 use rebuttal. So let's just go in and take a peek at the Palm Beach County School District. Okay, here we go. Oh, I know what I wanted to tell you. Here all this time, and I've been institutionalized twice, telling people that this is going on. All right. Now it's actually coming out that it's going on. So what are we going to do with all these medical people? You know, the same people that don't know that, oh, a woman is a woman and a man is a man, and don't know that violent people are really violent people. I mean, what are we supposed to do with the doctors? So the UN warns of rise of cyber torture to bypass physical pain, and it talks about this right in it. But what it does not, and it's a very interesting article, it doesn't tell you, which is what my people let me know, they impose the thoughts, but they can actually read the thoughts. And that's what Nostradamus and Micah says. Micah 5 actually in the Hebrew says that the sorcerers go through the clouds. And this is your Wi-Fi, folks. If you have to get rid of your Wi-Fi because the people themselves do not have the maturity to look after it. And there's no way around it. If they're going to tell you, oh, now we're going to be able to monitor this, this is never going to happen. And besides, the Wi-Fi is destroying your electromagnetics going around the earth. There you go. Which is causing many of your problems. And I told this to the powers that be 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year also. I mean, like, they have known this for a long time. So, there you go. Please read over this. I'm not crazy. It's actually going on, and it's worse. It happened to Bill Clinton. That was why he got onto tarmac and went to see the DOJ, which really Hillary Clinton would have been impeached had she become president. And I knew that, which was one of the reasons why I went to the Republicans. Okay, enhancing public trust. And Scott was in it. All right, here's the IG directory. Let's see if we'll hear it. All right, let's take a look at all the gazillion, all of these things. When you will go through, you will see that all of them. So like I contacted 5 of them. 5 of them, let's see, DOJ, Department of, this is when they hacked in for when I tried to sell insurance. They compromised everything there. I whistle blew there. Nobody did anything. This was the Department of Corrections when I contacted them and said, look, your people aren't doing anything. They said this, this, and this. They don't do anything. The big one, Department of Education, huge one for the Department of Juvenile Justice. That is huge. Law enforcement. Yes, we contacted them. But of course, my case, which was huge with this one. But let's go down, because instead of getting the triune that I said needed to happen, as soon as they closed my FCHR case, they opened up School District of Palm Beach County never got the pilot project that G4S, the state, was going to have to pay for. Instead, they're the only school district that has one. And they got it instead of getting the pilot project. And instead of looking after the kids that they forced to urinate out the back of the portable. So let's go back and, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So with this in mind, and I'm actually not telling you a lot, but there are more inspector generals in the state of Florida, and yeah. Yeah. So if you're going to lie and cheat and destroy honest people, then God will do. I always think of Florida as being like the penis of the state, and I mean the penis of the country. And let's face it, it is like shaped like that. Highly hedonistic, very narcissistic. This is fun, 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 sun, sun, sun. Then they will do what God said will happen, and she will stamp on his head. Nostradamus, not Nostradamus, but Edgar Casey has already warned that much of the state is going underwater. I can't change that. I think you have to think about what your attitude is here, folks. I'm looking at the inspector generals. So let's go in and take a look. You saw the part with the UN. Let's put you on pause for a moment. Here, and I'm sorry to sound so cynical, but they actually removed this email off as I'm sending my response in. Here we go, that's when the email is. They removed it because they did not want the students identified. And I'm clearly talking about this. This went to the person who was the investigator on March the 12th, 2012, went to the investigator who was the investigator from the Department of Juvenile Justice, IG. Okay. Yes, it was from my lawyer. We don't have any confidentiality anyway, so it doesn't matter, right? And I have no protection under the law. So I specifically talk about why we need a different form of mediation, how I plan on using this case, and what I hope to get out of it besides just looking after myself. I talk about what education needs, and one of the things it needs, and I talk about it all through here. And then about having this triune case, I make it clear to the DJJ, OIG, I make it clear to the FCHR that this is mediation that I'm interested in. They were supposed to charge them as soon as we realized that I was being cyber stalked and cyber monitored. It should have gone right into law enforcement. Nothing ever happened. They just continued destroying my life. So let's go in and see the next part here. And here is a copy of the rebuttal. No, well, let's see if that opens. I guess so. Where is that? No, we don't want to see this. Where is this? Sorry. I'm writing the other things. That will go to more than just that ambassador. Sorry. And I haven't sent it out yet. So this is what I sent in on January the 12th, 2013. I made the prima facie, but you're going to see there is, I didn't do the things that they said that I had done. I put all of that stuff in there. This is not even taking a look at what was inserted into part of the whistleblowing. Okay, so I'm just going to show you. Here we go. This is just part of what's there, and it was all part of the initial, the establishment of prima facie and what was actually in there. Right. So that's it. Okay. And this talks, what I did is I simply removed the students' names because I put it into this case and I didn't know what I could or couldn't do, what they were going to do. I didn't know, but they went through and I have no privacy anyway. So there we go. Alrighty, Let's close me out of here. And we're going to add you now into the actual case.